is Angelica Devon, and I'm the web designer of Student National Education Association, also known as SNEA on campus. I will be serving as the facilitator for tonight's session and will be monitoring the chat box throughout. My co-host tonight is Michelle Acker. Before we continue, I would like to go over a few housekeeping rules. Please keep your mic muted, type all of your questions into the chat box, and there will be time after the presentation to answer questions from the chat box. Today's presentation will be led by Caitlin Lawson and several other teachers from schools in, I think, various counties, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So without further ado, the School of Teacher Education and Student National Education Association presents hybrid teaching.
All right, so welcome everyone. I have to preface this by saying that this summer we had our, Dr. Goodman and I had our 8th annual, I believe, 8th or 9th annual Pay It Forward teacher panel. And so many of our recent graduates that are with us today presented this summer, and our students just wanted more. They wanted to hear more about what's going on in the schools. And so these lovely ladies said that they would come back and share information with you all when they're actually teaching amidst a pandemic. So that was prior to teaching during a global health crisis. And now we're at the point where they all have been teaching since August. And I am sure, in fact, I know that they have learned a lot about teaching during a global health crisis. So these are wonderful presenters that we have today. I did take Elisa Benoit off the list. She was unable to present today. She's actually tutoring 2 days a week at her school site, so she wasn't able to join us, but I'll share a little bit of information about Elisa. And she teaches 2nd grade. So I was really trying to get a nice group of recent graduates that teach in a variety of grade levels so that they can share information related to their grade level and related to what they've learned about teaching over this last year and a half, and specifically during the pandemic. So Lori Jackson isn't quite here yet, but Lori will be with us, and she teaches kindergarten at Highlands Elementary in Seminole County. Casey LaValle, wave Casey. She is here, grade 1, Rainbow Elementary. Megan Pershing, is Megan here yet? Megan? She was the one that I didn't see.
I'm here. Yeah.
You are here. Hi, Megan.
Hi.
Oh, it's so nice to see you. So Megan is actually a graduate student, and she is teaching math and science, grade 3, Sable Point Elementary. It's so good to see you, Megan. I can't wait to hear all about what's going on with you. Caitlin Lawson, Walker Elementary, grade 4. I have interns at Walker, so I've been checking in on Caitlin this semester. Nicole Bowen, she is at Chickasaw Elementary, grade 5. And Taylor Heinzel, formerly Cuppet, as I knew her, recently married, English Estates Elementary, grade 5. So you have got such wonderful, wonderful UCF alumni here to share with you. And if we could all just give a virtual applause just for them coming out after a long day of teaching to share some words of wisdom with us. I really appreciate you all so much. So here's the first thing, and I'm Michelle and Angelica, you're going to help out with this a little later. So let me let Sue in. What I would really like is for you to tell us your first name and then put the grade level that you're interested in. So if you can just change your name in Zoom to say, Caitlin 4, you don't have to. Presenters, you don't necessarily have to. But all of our attendees, if you could put your name and the grade level, that will help us at the end. We'd like to break you all out into grade level specific groups that you can then ask presenters certain information about their particular grade levels. So obviously Nicole and Taylor, you're going to be together, and we do not have a 2nd grade. So pick 2nd or 4th. All right. So if you can go ahead and do that, change your name. It's pretty simple. 3 dots, rename. name, and grade level. All right, so Lori Jackson technically was going to be the first one, but she's not here because she also tutors after, and she's going to jump on. So we're going to come back to her, and we are going to start with Casey. Casey, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for coming. So I teach first grade at Rainbow Elementary, and I did put my email in there just in case you ever had any questions that you don't get to ask today. I am happy to answer those questions at any time. I also want to say, Dr. Spalding, I love your mouse, how it's your Bitmoji. That's awesome. Mine is a bear, and my first graders follow my bear little mouse around, but I need to figure out how to change it to my Bitmoji because they would love that. I use my Bitmoji a lot in my classroom now. So as you can see, that's my Bitmoji. She's reading. So you can go ahead to the next slide and I'll see my talking points that I had. So teaching first grade amidst a pandemic. So what I've been doing is I originally started the year as having all Seminole Connect students, which means those are the students who are learning virtually from home. And I taught from my classroom. I had 16 students all together learning from their computers, and I was teaching all virtual, which was not my first choice. It was definitely lonely. I didn't really enjoy just having kids on the computer, but I got through it, and it went really well, a lot better than I anticipated it going. So then in the second quarter, they got to choose whether they wanted to stay on Seminole Connect or come back face to face. And just 4 of my students decided to come back. So we have a very small little group. It's really fun, just 4 of us. I've gotten to know them really, really well. So I have 4 students in the classroom and I still have 12 online. So I teach in a hybrid style. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was very stressed out about it at first because I didn't want to not give my all to any one group of student. I wanted them to have all of me and all of my attention that I could give, which obviously isn't possible, but it's going a lot better than I thought. I actually am able to meet at all of their needs the best that I can in this type of environment. And the way that I'm able to do that is through team planning. So we do a lot of team planning. On my first grade team, we're split up into 3 different groups. So one group plans for ELA, one group plans for math, and one group plans for social studies and science. And so we then meet every week and help each other prepare for the following week by sharing what we've planned. And we make PowerPoints for each week of the Google Slides of what we're going to be teaching so that you can just easily copy and paste it into your daily slides so that the students can see what you're learning and what you're that's okay. So the students can see what we're going over, and I can share my screen and they can see it really big, and they're able to follow along. And the last part that I had under what I'm doing now is student engagement. That's definitely the most difficult thing that we're doing that has to happen right now, is to keep those students engaged because they're at home and you're fighting with the attention of their toys and their pets and their snacks. And it's really hard to keep them engaged. So, and we can't, even the kids in the class, they can't do as much of that collaborative work as I was used to last year. So engagement is really, really tough, but I have class rewards for them. So when they meet a reward, like coming into the virtual classroom quietly or remembering to stay muted, we have different goals that we work towards. And then when they get those rewards, we do digital dance parties or eat lunch with the teacher. So they have class rewards, they have individual rewards like show and tell. They love show and tell. That's what they all choose. I have a big list of rewards, but they all choose show and tell because they just love to find something in their house and show it to us. And then I also do theme days. So I've done Mission Impossible days, I've done Halloween themed days. And so those theme days that get them really excited, like the Mission Impossible, they couldn't wait to be spies. And I had things hidden in our Google Classroom that they had to go find. And that really keeps them engaged, that they want to learn if they're listening on there. The next part was what has changed. So as I'm sure you can imagine, there's less collaboration between the students now that they can't share materials and they can't be working as close to each other as they could have in previous years. There's also a lot of prep work. It's a lot to prepare for online and face-to-face. So that's why I'm really thankful that my team does team planning, because it saves me a lot of time. So now I just have to prepare the extra things, but there is a lot more prep work than what I was used to last year. And also another big change is classroom management. It's very different to manage a classroom online than it is in person. And then an even bigger change when you go to hybrid, because you have different behaviors that are happening in your classroom and different behaviors happening online. And just to make sure that everyone's engaged and listening, it's a little bit more difficult. And then the last column, how I'm taking care of me, collaborating with coworkers to split up the work. That's been really helpful. Just taking it one day at a time. So I make sure that I just keep one day at a time in my mind, and so I don't overwhelm myself. And then spending time with family during my downtime just to de-stress. So it's been a different year, but I've had a very positive experience with it, and I'm very optimistic about continuing the year. So if you want to join my breakout room and you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Casey, I put a couple things in there. Sorry for the issues.
No,
I'm so glad that you're supported and that your team plans together. And I know, we were communicating with one another and how challenging it was to be teaching by yourself in your classroom for quite some time with all of your students at home. And I think, for everyone that's on this Zoom professional development, I think that many of you that have been former students have heard me say adaptability and flexibility, and never has that been so true, that you just have to be as adaptable and flexible. And I think positive, thinking positive, that hopefully we're going to come out of this and things will go back to some semblance of normal. That will be very important. All right. So Casey, yes, you'll be able to answer some additional questions in the breakouts. So next we've got Megan. And Megan, if you would, I just want you to tell them you're a little different in the mix here because you're a graduate student. So go for it.
Yeah, so I'm definitely a bit of a different situation than the other teachers here. I'm actually a little more similar to all of you undergraduate students. So my undergraduate degree was actually in hospitality. And then I decided to do a career change, and now I'm getting my master's in elementary education. So I'm going through all of the certification courses that you all are going through so I can become a full-time teacher. And because of the fact that I have a bachelor's degree, I have the ability to be a substitute teacher. So I am covering for somebody on maternity leave. So I have been a long-term sub. I have 2 weeks left. So I've been there since the beginning of August, and that's my situation. So I am at Sable Point Elementary, which is in Seminole County. And our school was one of the few schools that decided from the get-go to do complete hybrid. So there were no full Seminole Connect and full face-to-face classes, because they kind of knew as students decided to come back that people were going to have to do both anyway. So they wanted us to start off with that. So we kind of knew how to balance it from the get-go. I started with 7 in person and 7 online, and now I'm up to 15 in person and 3 online. And that is definitely an interesting balance of trying to navigate 15 8-year-olds in person and then keep the 3 online still engaged. And so my school, we are departmentalized. So I only teach math and science. So I have 2 groups of students that I work with. We have been doing a lot of team planning also, like Casey said, but because of the fact where if one of us is absent, we can't split classes up like we used to. So the whole math and science team stays on the same schedule. So there's a lot less autonomy in the classroom. So we are all doing the same things on the same days. So if we have to have students pop into somebody else's Google Classroom for their Google Meet, we're all on the same topic. We've also been working really hard on trying to be innovative of how we can work with the students online, but not recreating the wheel. So all of the teachers I work with have been teaching for 15 to 20 years. So the big transition with technology was definitely something they struggled with. So it's really nice that I came in just as a first-time teacher. They had the resources, but I had the tech savvy to be able to help them transition all of their great resources into something we can use in the classroom with the technology. So Google Slides are my very best friend. As Dr. Spalding knows, I'm obsessed with Google Slides, but we use them pretty much for everything. And I like using them a lot for actual assignments where students can create their own things, or we use them for tests so they can do they can draw out their problems and all these different capabilities. So it's definitely a great resource. How things have changed. So this is my first year teaching, so all this is new for me. But I know after this year, I can teach pretty much anytime because hopefully we won't be dealing with these extra issues later. But so I know time management now is more important than ever. We definitely have a lot less control of our own classroom, but your team dynamic is just even stronger because you are all in this together. Something I've noticed, so the transition from second to third grade is huge, as it is in a normal year. And there is so much important information, especially in math, that is put into that fourth quarter that students missed out on, or the instruction just, I mean, for all you teachers, you know how the end of last year went. So we've noticed that we've had to spend a lot more time reviewing or going over things that were supposed to be taught at the end of second grade, that the gap was a little bigger than usual. So just trying to play catch up with that. And we also have constant procedure changes because as more students come, the whole school has to change what procedures we use. So just asking students to navigate that has been interesting. And just again, with the time management, instruction time has been lost a lot due to tech issues. So it's just finding that balance of what can I have the students in class do while I'm dealing with tech issues online, or when we're cutting out things in class, but I have a digital version for students online, how can I keep them occupied while I'm helping students make sure they're not cutting limbs off when they're supposed to cut paper? So how I'm taking care of myself, this is a really great question. And as of this morning, I honestly had on there, someone help me because I'm really not sure. But so I'm teaching for the first time. I'm taking 4 master's classes, and I actually just got married this weekend. Yeah, so I just got married on Halloween, and I had to completely replan my wedding from August to now. So doing all of those things was a lot of fun. So just making sure I decompress at the end of every day and just like let go of the things I can't control, and just make sure I keep realistic expectations for myself and the students, just because this is new for all of us and I can't expect perfection. And just making sure that I designate specific times at home or work on school for X amount of time, but log off your computer and just relax for a little bit in the evening. So yeah, that's pretty much been this year.
Megan, I cannot believe you're here. I cannot believe you just got married this weekend and you're doing a KnightED Talks. Kudos to you. I keep thinking about the shoes from this summer. Did you? Yes, you wore the shoes.
Yeah, I wore my Harry Potter Vans. Yep.
All right. Well, I admitted Sue Rittenauer earlier, and Sue and I have a connection with Harry Potter, as do you and I. So I would love to see some pictures of that. If you want to email me, I would love it. I appreciate your honesty also with, like, this morning you would have said, help me. And that you came up with some ways to care for yourself, because that most certainly is crucial right now for all of us. Again, just love the idea of the being innovative in regards to technology. And I know I have students, current students on this particular PD, and I've been pushing the innovative use of technology, and it's a real world skill. And it is something that your principals and the teachers out in the schools, whether it's misguided or not, they do believe that you all have enhanced technological skills and that you'll be able to assist and help them with that. So the more practice you can get in utilizing innovative technological tools, the better, without a doubt. So I think I saw Lori Jackson. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here stuffing my face.
I thought you were. All right, Lori Jackson is here. So I'm going to go back because I said that we would. And Lori Jackson is a kindergarten teacher at Highlands Elementary, and I've had the pleasure of actually being in her classroom. So Lori, we're going to go back, and you are going to share a little bit about kindergarten at Highlands?
Okay, so hi, I'm Lori Jackson. So what I've been doing, I'm completely face to face. God bless the kindergarten teacher that has to deal with face to face and connect. I could not do it. We plan as a team once a week. So last year it was twice a week, but just with everything going on this year, it's once a week. We do weekly mental health check-ins with the kids every Wednesday just to see how they are feeling, and we talk about how they're feeling. If I notice anyone writes or tells me that they're sad, then I definitely do pull that kid to the side and have a conversation with them. How much time do I have, Dr. Spalding? 5 minutes? Okay, that's why I'm talking quickly. We do socially distanced group work, so I still do allow the kids to sit around the classroom and work as long as they can handle it, because some kids can only handle working at their desk. I do Fun Fridays, so they're able to play with Play-Doh, draw on their dry erase board. I actually have a dry erase table, so they can draw on the dry erase table. And they can dance. Most of the kids either play with Play-Doh or dance. They love dancing. I do have mask breaks. So there's a specific side of the room, that's 6 feet away from everyone. So I let them know if you need to take off your mask, that's where you take it off. Don't take it off at your desk. It has to be in that corner. I have been using technology way more. And that leads into what has changed. Centers are so different and not as hands-on. And it breaks my heart because I love hands-on centers. Like last year, I took so much time to print and prep centers for different math units, different ELA units, just so the kids can work together and do games. And they are able to do it, but once one student touches it, then that's in quarantine. So another student can't touch it for like 3 to 4 days. And so my centers now are online. I definitely do not try to reinvent the wheel. I go on Teachers Pay Teachers and I see what's on there and I use that. And the kids do like doing that. I use Google Slides for that because I have a Google Classroom. So my kids do centers through my Google Classroom. PDs are now online, so I don't get to have meetings with my coworkers. And it's really sad because my administration makes meetings so fun. So it's very like hands-on and we play games and we don't get that anymore. So that I do miss that. I do more brain breaks now because those kids need to get up like every 5 seconds. So, you kind of know your class. Some days we do less brain breaks than we do other days. There's one day we probably did like 6 brain breaks because they looked so tired. It was a Monday. I don't know what they were tired from. Maybe they had a long weekend. How I'm taking care of me. I actually used my first personal day 3 weeks ago. I've never taken a personal day ever. I only took sick days, and most of the time I tried to come in if I still could. So I took my first personal day. I leave work on time. So at 3:15, I am out the door. Everyone makes fun of me for it. And they're like, Miss Jackson's always leaving at 3:15. Yes, I am, because my work is done and there's always more work to do. Put that work down and go. You need the mental health break because it's a lot now. And I don't take work home with me anymore. I used to always bring work home. I do not do that anymore. I plan my lesson 2 weeks ahead so I don't feel overwhelmed. I plan and prep so I don't feel overwhelmed. Me and my coworkers do that. So right now, all of my stuff is prepped for the rest of November. So staying ahead really helps. I have my nail appointment every other week. That is my cool down time. That's my chill time. And then I also take care of myself by venting to my fiance. He's a middle school teacher, so we both get to vent about all the things going on in the workplace, and it helps since we're both teachers, so he could actually relate to what I'm saying. And I am done.
Lori Jackson, I just love listening to you talk. And I think, we laugh about the nail appointment, but if that's something that is, helpful and it helps you to decompress, that's fantastic. And I do want to say, Lori Jackson and I go way back here several years, and I'm pretty sure that she did her internship at Highlands Elementary in the intermediate grades. and ended up taking a kindergarten position that she never thought she would have taken. Can you speak to that just a few seconds?
So yeah, I just knew I interned in first grade for a little bit and I did not like it at all. I was like, I will never teach these little babies. But that was the position that I got offered at the school I internship. And obviously I'm gonna take it because I loved it. And the week before school started, my first year, I actually got offered fifth grade, and that's the grade I wanted, fourth or fifth. And I said no because I was already prepared for kindergarten, and I haven't looked back. I love it so much. If they ever ask me to go to intermediate, I will say no. I love kindergarten. So definitely be open-minded because I didn't expect to love kindergarten.
And so I love that. You definitely have to be open-minded. And I also just reiterating the importance of, I visited Lori when you first started teaching, right? So over a year ago. Okay. And during pre-plan, and got to speak with her principal. And I know he's hired several of my previous students and UCF grads at his school. And when you all do a great job during your internship, if there's a position available, they want to hire you because you already have knowledge of their school and you're already somewhat part of their school. So I think that's really important for those of you that are entering internship in the spring and beyond, to know that we are telling the truth when we say that it's the beginning of an interviewing process for you and really could lead to a position at that school site.
And just to say something, speak to when you walk into like the office or in the hallway, make sure you have a smile on your face, even though it's hard to see through the mask. And say hi to everyone, because like every time my principal writes me a note, because he will write like everyone a note, he always says you have a smile on your face and you always speak to everyone. You know, a lot of people don't do that. So just doing that makes you stand out.
It does. Lori Jackson, that might be why I was initially just when we first met in Children's Lit, you were always smiling, you were always happy. And when I was a young teacher, my PE coach, I don't even know if he knew my name. He was just like, "Hey, Smiley." Every single day, the PE coach, that's all he said. He never called me by my name. And I think that that's extremely important. We need people around us to lift us up and to be positive. And that's an extremely important part of being a part of a school culture, at least a positive school culture. So thanks, Lori. All right, so now we're shifting from kindergarten all the way up to fourth grade with Caitlin Lawson at Walker Elementary.
Hello, everybody. So I know that we are on a time restraint. I am the best at getting the most across in a short amount of time, so just get ready. So as Dr. Spalding just said, my name is Caitlin Lawson. I do teach at Walker Elementary. That was my contact information that she so quickly bypassed, but that's okay. That's fine. Don't worry. We can come back to it. It's okay. It's okay, Spalding. It's okay. All right. So what have I been doing? I have had face-to-face and Seminole Connect. It has been a lovely time over here. Seminole Connect, again, is where I am teaching virtually. Now, I didn't have to do it at the same time until my coworker was sick. And then they said, "Oh, Miss Lawson, by the way, you have to teach both at the same time." And I about had a heart attack. So those of you that are teaching hybrid, God bless, because it was really rough. So we, as a fourth grade team, I do ELA this year. However, I taught math and science last year, very well versed in both. And the district is providing all of our lessons for us. So we get a PowerPoint, we teach the PowerPoint, and we do small groups based off of that. And I kind of talk about that in what has changed. There's a lack of autonomy now. We don't really get to do what we want per se, just because it's basically about surviving. We are trying to make it through. And for those of you that don't know, fourth grade is the year that we start teaching writing. And they have, in Seminole County, they have an 18-step writing process to learn. So trying to get these sweet little angels to do that, it's rough. It's rough. So to cope with that, we have been doing daily mental health check-ins. I'm a very large mental health advocate. I implemented in my classroom. I've been doing it since before I was a teacher in my internship classes, which I actually did intern at my school as well, that I currently work at. So again, mental health, very important, as you all know, because it's 2020. So here we are. We do socially distanced group work. It's a bit different now because they're allowed to be closer. I'm allowed to have them in groups now. When I was writing this, they had to be in rows. So Now they're grouped together. It's going well. And we definitely do Feel Good Friday. And when I say Feel Good Friday, I don't mean just like, oh, okay, we get to, talk about like our weekend and things. No, I am teaching these children dances. Every single Friday, we learn a dance. So we have learned the Cotton Eye Joe. I have taught them the Get Up. We have done Miley Cyrus, think way back, Hannah Montana. What is that? What dance is that? Oh my goodness.
Slow down, throw down.
Yes. Thank you, Casey.
You're welcome.
All of those dances. We are really killing it right now. What has changed? Last year I had all flexible seating. This year I'm not allowed to provide any of my own seating because if it is not district owned, I can't have it. I can't have them partner up anymore. I can't have them do any of those like fun little group activities. As teachers, we've had a lot more training going on just because of all of the virtual trainings, and man, do they take such a long time. Can sometimes be inconvenient, but we're pushing through. It's okay. And I have been more intentional with relationship building, given the fact that mental health is very big in my classroom, just getting them to open up more because 2020, they didn't get to end their third grade year with their teacher. So coming into fourth grade, they were super excited to be back at school. But it was just kind of different. So we have different conversations now. Listen, Dr. Spalding, I'm almost done. So how am I taking care of myself? Work stops at 4 p.m. I refuse to stay any later than that because last year I was here until like 5:36. And while I enjoyed it then, this year I'm like bare minimum in that sense where I can't push myself too hard because what can I really expect? No working on the weekends. That goes along with stopping at 4 o'clock. And I'm allowing myself to feel overwhelmed because before I would be like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? I'm the worst teacher ever. But now I'm like, Caitlin, it's 2020. What do you expect? Like, I'm just taking this one day at a time, as some of my colleagues were saying. That's all we can really do right now. And it is Tuesday today, so I'm so happy to share this with you. It is Sweet Treat Tuesday. So I take myself after work through the Chick-fil-A drive-thru and I grab myself a milkshake and I take myself home. And it is the best part of my week other than teaching these kids these dances because it's hilarious. But look, I did it less than 2 minutes for that. So yes, if you have more questions or just want to hang out, talk, I'm your girl. Here we are.
I love it. So real quick, will you describe what your flexible seating looked like before the global health crisis?
Oh, Dr. Spalding, don't you worry, because it's all right here in my classroom that I don't get to teach in. So
right.
We have a nice little wobble stool. We have some bean bags. We had this very nice swivel stool. We were doing so much. And then they said, Miss Lawson, you can't teach in your room or have flexible seating. So here we are.
But it's going to come back. We're going to think positive and we're going to, yes, hopefully come back to some semblance of normalcy. At some point, love the Sweet Treat Tuesday. Love the alliteration there. Who doesn't love Chick-fil-A? Awesome. All right. I'm really liking how I'm hearing you all that you have self-instituted boundaries. Lori talked about it. Caitlin, you just spoke about it. That's really important in regards to guarding against that feeling. Regardless, you're going to feel overwhelmed, but you can enhance that feeling of being overwhelmed beyond what the normal overwhelming feeling is if you don't institute some boundaries, right? Because our job really never ends. There was a long time that I tried not to get my UCF email on my phone because if it's on my phone, then I will look at it and I will feel the need to respond. But responding during actual working hours is what's really expected, not at 11, 12, or 1 o'clock in the morning, right? So just having those parameters and treating yourself. I love that. I love it. All right, so we are doing really well with our time. Thank you all so much. So now we have Nicole at Chickasaw Elementary. Nicole, I won't go too fast through your slide. Everyone take it all in since Caitlin got all over me about that. There is her email address and how you can follow her on social media.
Twitter.
Twitter, her beautiful image as well. And there she is in living color. Nicole.
Thank you, Dr. Spalding. First and foremost, I would love to give some credit to the previous speakers. It is an honor to do this job alongside you and know that we are truly in this together, that we are thriving in the trenches, as my teammates and I like to say. It is rough, but it is doable. So A little bit about me. I teach 5th grade ELA, so English Language Arts and Social Studies. I very much like Lori, had my heart set on 5th grade. I actually ended up in 5th grade. Lori, all the power in the world to you, because listen, I watch Kinder walk in the hallway and I'm like, oh my God, I can't. I just can't do it. No. But I am currently teaching a hybrid course. Originally at the beginning of the year, I was entirely virtual. It actually wasn't that bad. We had a really solid classroom community. I'm a big advocate for promoting inclusion and making sure we're all on the same team. Just as of late, this past Quinn, I did have 12 of my students return. So now I have 12 face-to-face and 12 virtual. It has been slightly challenging in the sense that I have to manage both groups at the same time. However, this year I really took on a team mindset that we are all on the same team. So as team players, we have to help each other out. This is not, I'm your teacher, you're my student, you have to respect me. But in order for us to all achieve what we need to achieve, we have to work together. So if my face-to-face students are having their conversation and my online students are disrupted, we need to stop and talk about that so that we're all on the same page. They have been amazing in being respectful and just being the greatest. Like I'm very, very proud of them. We actually have been doing virtual field trips. My school has implemented several virtual field trips. We just started a unit on the American Revolution. All of our content is all messed up, but we took a virtual field trip to the American Revolution, both 5th grade ELA classes. The kids loved it. I was able to stream it through my laptop to my Launch Ed kids and put it on my smart board for my face-to-face kids. We all participated together. It was a good time. We do virtual book clubs. I am, again, a huge advocate for literature. So I have 3 book clubs that are currently happening right now, a high, medium, and a low. So I'm still hitting those comprehension standards, but the kids get really excited because it was their choice and their book selection. They're very, very thrilled about it. Project-based learning. I do a lot of Google Slides. I believe it was Casey. I wrote it down. I took notes on what you guys said. So I think it was Casey. Or maybe Megan. Megan, I think. You're a huge advocate for Google Slides. We do a lot of projects in my class, a lot of prove what you know, check your understanding. We do a lot of it through group projects, and the kids can collaborate on a Google slide. They can collaborate on a Google Doc. So just because we're split up virtually doesn't mean that they can't still get each other's perspective. We do breakout sessions a lot, which we will experience today in Zoom. Orange County uses a platform called Big Blue Button. So I have created breakout rooms that I actually use Kagan structures for. Kagan is a type of collaborative structure in which the kids know when to talk and what to talk about. I've designed Kagan structures that are implemented in breakout rooms. That way you don't have 9 kids in one room saying, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to do? They need direction. So we were able to come up with a plan to give them that direction. Free Choice Friday, if they have completed their AR goal, their iReady minutes, all of the other things that are still being implemented despite a pandemic, they have their choice of what they would like to do, whether it is typing club or some other app on their computer, or if they would like to bring someone on the camera, their brother, auntie, whoever, to talk to me. We do lunches on Friday. I just give them that time to mentally unload. What has changed? No hugs, no touching. Guys, I'm such a lover, right? I'm such a high fiver. I am such a, hey, like, you're amazing. This is great. And the fact that I can't high five, I can't give a hug to a child who's upset, I can't make that connection with them physically. It's sad. It really is. And it hurts me, but they're respectful of it and I'm respectful of it and they are understanding. More communication with parents. This has been the most communicative year with parents that I've had thus far at Chickasaw. I've been here for 3 years. It has been very, very intentional. Hey, so-and-so is doing this. hey, notice that your son logged out of my conference. So I'm in the middle of my virtual conference at the same time as my face-to-face kids. And then I'm sending messages to parents about why so-and-so logged out. Where is so-and-so? Well, so they're taking out the garbage. They're doing chores, X, Y, and Z. Well, this is school. So I don't know what you're doing, but you need to be in school, right? No library books without a ridiculous sanitation process. And I put ridiculous sanitation process because my school has implemented a 7-step process on how to check out a library book, including gloves and masks and sanitizing wipes, sanitizing gels, sanitizing sprays. You can only return from this time to that time. You can only check out from this time to that time. So as much as I love the literature, it is exhausting to manage that on top of everything else in total truth. How am I taking care of me? Much like other people have said, I stopped getting paid at 3:15. Therefore, I stopped working at 3:15. And I know that sounds very harsh. However, I will not survive this job for the next 5, 10, 20 years if I exert all of my energy right now. We give 110% to these kids every single day, whether it's virtual, whether it's face-to-face, or both. I don't have the mental capacity to sit here until 5:30, 6 o'clock just to come back the next day and do it again. It's taking care of myself. It's knowing that at 3:15, I'm done, I go home. Whatever doesn't get done, I'll do it when I can. I don't take it home on the weekend. The weekend is my time, my family time, my friend time. Work is work, home is home. And it's very, very important to have that boundary. And I think it's even more important to mention, it does not make you a bad teacher. There's a stigma that if you're new and you don't stay till 6:30, 7 o'clock, that you're not trying hard enough. And I don't agree with it. You can give 110% and go home at 3:30. It's the truth. Respect yourself enough to take care of you. And then the last thing is, I am honest with my administration about how I'm feeling and what is appropriate regarding expectations. So you'll hear a lot in education that, you know, it's just one more thing, another thing we have to do. There's so many demands. There's so many, the list never stops. You know, we never, ever really quit. I am so blessed to have an administration that wants to hear the feedback and wants to hear the concerns. I'm team leader for 5th grade. So there are certain conversations I can have with my principal. And just the other day I mentioned, listen, I'm very overwhelmed and I know you need this from me right now and you need this from my team, but we can't get that to you. It's not going to happen by Friday. I'll be honest. Give us another week or so and we'll pull something together. But we have so much on our plate right now. And also as an educator, you have the right to say that depending upon your administration. Speak up for yourself and protect, I hate to say it so cliche, but protect your peace. Because in order for you to be fully present with the kids, you can't be focused on who needs to do what and what has to be turned in and all of this other mess, right? The kids are first. And the only way that you can give to them is if you make sure that your cup is full. And that comes with communicating with the right people to respect yourself and protect your boundaries, if that makes sense.
It does. And Nicole, I did not know that you were a team leader. That takes on a whole another level of leadership. How many people are on your team?
There's only 4 of us. So
Okay.
I'm very thankful. There's only 4 of us, 2 ELA and 2 math and science. Obviously, we are both departmentalized, but I'm the youngest on my team by a good 15 years. So it is very, very fun to have that role.
That's awesome. 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 So they can learn more about that if they join your room, breakout room here shortly. So last but not least, we have Taylor Heinzel. She is a 5th grade teacher, ELA and social studies also, like Nicole. She teaches at English Estates Elementary, and some of you have heard this, but she actually teaches in the classroom in which I was a 5th grade student. So that goes full circle, literally. I was a 10-year-old in the classroom that Taylor teaches in. So welcome, Taylor. Take it away.
Hi, Lori. Congratulations on your engagement. It's so exciting. Love you too. So yeah, Taylor Heinzel. I was Taylor Cuppa in March. I got married before everything happened. If you want to follow me on Instagram, that's my Instagram handle, Magically Fist. I'm also really into Harry Potter, and Megan Pershing and I also know each other from UCF RA's days. So shout out to you. Nice to see you again too. So I have a lot of things here, but I also talk very fast. My kids like learn to keep up with me. So I'm sorry if I talk really fast, but you can ask questions later. What's super cool about Nicole and I, even though we are both fifth grade, Nicole's Orange and I'm Seminole. So if you join our room, we get to like look at the differences between our two counties, which is cool. I'm also the team leader of my team of 5. And I teach, just to keep that in your brain, I teach 3 classes. So we have a math person, a science person, and I teach reading the 3 classes in 1.5 blocks. So just keep that in your mind as I'm talking. So I teach 2 virtual, 1 face-to-face class. We call our virtual Connect. Love this model. It's been great. We do a lot of small group time. My school is very into small group time. I maybe have 10 minutes of whole group with my kids every single day. We do everything through centers and everything through teacher-led stations. I have class meetings every single day with all 3 of my classes to build relationships with my kids. So that's what I've been doing, which has been great for my online students because they can get to know me and I can get to know them because we don't have those informal conversations, you know, in the line to recess or to lunch because I'm not taking them anywhere or to specials. What else? Okay, class novels. We do class novels. I read aloud. A lot of kids right now don't have access to books. I'm also Title I school, so a lot of my students do not have access to books at home. I've tried to give them as much online resources as possible. It's just not the same holding a book in your hand, so I do try and read out loud to them every single day. And all of my classes were on our 3rd novel this year, so we're just like cruising through books, which has been awesome. I also do Fun Fridays, and it's also for myself. So Caitlin, me too. I go to Chick-fil-A on Fridays and roll through the drive-thru, get my frozen coffee, and it's delicious. And then we also do Fun Fridays with my kids. So if they have done, you know, all their center work, they've met with me at least 3 times a week. We've done our whatever we had to get done that week. They have choices to do so that they can kind of decompress as well on Fridays, and it's great. I'm also into Harry Potter, so we do house points, which is awesome. So that's how we keep track of behavior. I give house points to kids who are doing the right thing, have their cameras on, are engaging with me. My face-to-face students also get house points as well. We do a lot of choice and voice. So in my center's activities, they can choose the text they want to read or choose the activity they want to do with the text so that they have more ownership and they actually want to do what I'm asking them to do instead of being forced to do it. We also do a lot of project-based learning like Nicole does. So we did a Titanic project because we just finished that unit. We're moving into Greek myths. So we're also doing a Greek myth thing with the kids too. So they get to do something additional with projects as well. I also love room transformation. So we did a whole Titanic thing where there was like a Titanic ship behind me. I got to talk to Dr. Spalding's class a couple weeks ago. It was super fun with that. So really help the kids like stay engaged. Also, we use Google Meet and they just released changing your background on Google Meetings. So I've been like playing with that this week and it's been so fun. So today we had to dress up as red, white, and blue and I had fireworks behind me because it was election day. So the kids like thought that was the greatest thing ever. So that was great. What has changed? I forgot to add this too, but I think it's super important to talk about. We are an FSA testing grade. So the students are still being required to take FSA at the end of the school year. That is 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students. So yay. We've been trying to get them ready for that test. So that's been fun. Holding them accountable also has been really difficult. So making sure the kids are doing the right thing, that kind of ties into parent communication. They have my personal cell phone number. I'm texting parents when they're not coming to my classes or calling them because it's impossible for me to get to my school phone and call these parents while I'm in front of students live. So we text, we call, they're very respectful of my boundaries, which is great. Student interactions are hard. Like Nicole said, I can't hug my babies and I love them. We just got a student from my online class back today and he came at me like with the arms and I was like, I can't hug you, I'm so sorry. And it like breaks my heart, but it is what we have to do. So we do like dab greetings or little dances in the morning or something to kind of get their energy out. Working together has been hard. I just put my kids in groups like Caitlin was saying. They just allowed me to kind of put my kids into groups. So they're in groups of 3 right now, which is great with their little barriers, and it's been awesome. We did that yesterday, so it's been 2 days of that. All of my centers are tech-based. I really don't have anything paper. We were told we weren't allowed to give papers or take papers from kids. So everything has been very technology-based. I know different schools have been told different things. So it's been no manipulatives can be used either. So task cards, can't use those. Math blocks for math, can't use those. Movement has been really difficult as well since they can't move around the room. So I do a lot of callbacks that require movement. So I'll say like, wake up, and they go, I woke up in beast mode, and they bang on their desk to kind of get the wiggles out a little bit. We just started new ones this week too, which has been great. Class jobs are almost non-existent. Line leader, door holder, but like tech person, library book manager. We're not even allowed to send kids out of our rooms for the nurse. They have to be escorted. So student independence has virtually been taken away. I have to fill their water bottles. I have to open doors. I have to do everything for them, which has been so hard because I can't give, and then in 5th grade, so I want to give them independence and I can't, I'm not allowed. We talked about parent communication, and then how am I taking care of me? We are a 7 habits of leadership school, a Covey habit school. So circle of control is really big at our school. It's part of being proactive. So I really think about what can I control? I can't control if a kid is not going to listen to me on Connect and they're looking at the TV. I can do everything I can to get their attention. And if they're not looking at me, it's no longer, it's out of my control. So I've really been working hard on that. Taking time for me and my small family. I just got married, I have a dog, so I make sure I leave school, and I'm actually forced to leave now by 5 p.m. because they come spray and sanitize our room, so I have to leave. Another thing that Nicole said that's very similar at my school, being open with my administration, what's working, what's not. They're amazing with getting feedback from me. I'm also a team leader, so they're asking me constantly how it's going, and I love, and they're adaptable. They're able to, you know, change whatever's not working and working for me and for us, and it's great. I'm learning to also take a breath. Literally between small groups, because I have some low babies in my Connect class. I like say little prayers like, Lord, give me strength for my next group. Like, please help me like control myself without, you know, being patient, because it's so hard to be patient between groups of kids that really infuriate you sometimes. So really just taking a breath, sending a prayer, and taking time for yourself, just a second during the day is great. I also am learning to rely more on others on my team. I am definitely OCD. I love doing things myself. Those PowerPoints, Caitlin, that we get from the district, I was at one point redoing them because I hated the way they looked, and I've stopped doing that. So relying on others has been really helpful as well. And I always try and stay positive. I know it's easy to say that and it's hard to do that, but I like live by being excited and positive with your kids is how you get excited and positive kids in your classroom. So if you're not excited and positive for them, you're not getting that back. What you give them, they give back to you. So whatever vibes you're putting out is what you're getting back. So I try my best to be happy and positive with my kids no matter what's going on in my day. Our kids have nicknamed my like trifecta, we call ourselves the crazy hypo trio, because we're like bopping all the time to keep them engaged and happy. So that's it for me. If you want to join me, Nicole, we'll like slam it on 5th grade because 5th is the best.
I love it. So Taylor, you ended on a great point. And the reason, honestly, that I invite these particular students to come back is because they all have something in common. They are all positive, enthusiastic teachers. And I too am positive and enthusiastic. So it's natural that we're all attracted to each other and that we've continued to stay in touch as well. And I know that a positive classroom culture starts with the teacher. And I believe that while I'm not in all of your classrooms, I know that there's a positive emphasis on learning and that you all are establishing a love of learning regardless of the grade level. And that's what kids at the elementary level need. They need positive role models. They need people who are going to engage and motivate them and want them to learn and actually love learning themselves. And that's you all. So I'm so proud of you. I'm going to allow our KnightED Talks facilitators. They're going to explain how we're going to break out into the rooms. Now, obviously, technically it ends at 5:30. And we have another meeting starting at 6, the Student National Education Association general meeting in which I am the advisor. So marathon day for us here. So we're definitely going to shut it down at 5:40. All right. So in our small groups, once we get in there, technically it has ended, but if you want to stay and talk to them in a small group space, that's really what we wanted to offer you all, so you could answer some more questions. And thank you all for going back in and answering some questions there as well.